Coach, it's the offseason. What are some of the most important things that the team needs to be working on in these months, and how are they doing at doing that?
Well, we got our strength coaches involved. As coaches, we're recruiting, but not everyone's recruiting. So we got our staff around and some of the lifting program that we're doing now, but then we're gone recruiting a little disjointed. So we're led by our strength staff, Mark Hill and his crew that do an awesome job. You're trying to lift, you're trying to get stronger. We got a lot of guys back. You want to keep maturing physically, but you're also looking for that leadership and team chemistry. And we've kind of reestablished some guys as we go through the year that we'll start leaning on to see if they can handle those leadership roles and accountability and whatnot. So physical development, but also the initial start. You start over as good as it is, as bad as it is. You start over scratch and you start building the next year. And we're a couple weeks into it right now.
How's recruiting going?
We think, well, we're a couple weeks out till signing day. A few spots remain, but kind of being a little selective. You got to be smart down the stretch and make sure you don't get sold a bill of goods. He's a good enough player. He's academically, does he fit? What's the personality of the young man like? Is he a good fit for you as you move forward? We've got a very good class on paper if it holds true. And we believe it will hold true between now and signing day. A lot of players back. We really went into last year with 5 true scholarship players. But with our scholarship numbers and whatnot, we're going to be able to push the 20-plus limit in the way we're using some of the numbers. So we've got a lot of guys back. We've got a good class on paper we want to finish. And I think we'll be able to really upgrade our roster with our recruiting that's going on now.
There's some excitement heading into next year. 19 starters returning. It should be a talented core in year 3.
Well, we think so. A lot of guys have played. Of those 19, 14 of those starters are freshmen and sophomores. So we've got a lot of guys. You've got some older guys like Stephen Houston or Kofi Hughes and some of those guys that are seniors. But a lot of those players, Cody Latimer or Trey Roberson or Nate Sudfeld or Jason Spriggs, a lot of those guys are freshman, sophomore players. So we're very excited about those guys. But we've got to continue to improve those players in strength development, in size, in speed, in conditioning, and in football knowledge.
Any changes to the roster?
Well, again, at this time of the year, we've had a few changes. We've added a couple guys mid-year. We got recruiting going on. First thing officially at the end of the season, as we went through last year, we have a couple players that are officially now classified as medical qualifiers. They had some injuries that prohibited them last year from participating, from playing. And that being said, they maintain their scholarship. They stay on scholarship, but it opens up a spot to go recruiting. We got Matt Perez, a running back that was playing for us that had an issue with an injury that didn't allow him to play last spring through summer. He'll help us in the weight room. He's still around. He's still a part of our program. And the other young man, Matt was a running back, Ishmael Thomas. Both those guys next year will be going into their 4th year. Ishmael's a linebacker, and same deal. Had some issues where we couldn't get him on the field. So those 2 guys are medical qualifiers. We have one of our players mid-semester has decided to transfer, Justin Rayside, defensive end that we brought in last year and played a little bit, but not a lot. He did a great job in school, wanted to play, and he's decided, I think Justin's went to a Division II school in Texas, Tarleton State, had 1 year of eligibility, wanted to get on the field. We didn't disagree with that, but he's a great kid. So, Justin's decided to transfer. So that opens up a couple of scholarships. We had those seniors that we had, those 5, 6, 7 seniors with Alex Webb. I think he got to 8, and Nick Freeland. But we had a number of our 4th-year players that were on track to graduate. Some scholarship players like Charlie Chapman, Javon Cornley, DJ Carr Watson, Jamon Chester, and Lawrence Barnett. 4th-year players that were playing some as backup roles, not playing a lot. They're on track to graduate. They've came in and decided to not play their 5th year, which it allows us to maybe go recruit someone else. But again, those guys were good players for us, solid guys, good roles, as hard as you work. If you're not playing that much, I think they're just ready for the next chapter of their life. And we had some walk-on players that had nice roles. Mitchell Voss, our punter, Tyler McGuigan, Chad Rogeman, Mike Carter. We had some walk-on players that could have had a 5th year but decided to go ahead and graduate. So we lose a few of those guys. They had played in support roles, but with the recruiting we got going on, those guys have been great Hoosiers. We wish them well, and we'll be here for those guys. But that being said, that frees up some recruiting spots, and we'll complete this class as we move forward.
A couple dates on the calendar to pay attention to. There's going to be signing day, and there's going to be a signing day special at 11 o'clock on IUHoosiers.com and Big10Network.com. Then, of course, the spring game, which is a chance for fans to get a look at the Hoosiers.
Yeah, there's several things coming up on signing day on the 6th, and at that time we can then talk about these recruits and put their highlight tapes, and it's official. They've signed that day. Again, I think we're doing something in house with IU Hoosiers, which is always a good deal. A lot of comments from our coaches. We'll have all the facts of the kids, the highlight tapes. I think the Big Ten Network is reaching out to do something to work with us that we're excited about. And then I actually think a week later, on the 13th, a Wednesday night, we'll have the Hoosier football preview where we'll talk about the signing classes before, I think, the Nebraska game. It'll be late afternoon. I don't know if we're starting what time. I think the game is at 7:30. But before that game, upstairs in the Hinkie Hall on the third level, we'll have a preview deal to show the recruits for a lot of the fans coming to the basketball game. That'll be a heck of a deal. And as we move into spring ball, spring practices will start March the 2nd. So we got 6 more weeks of preparation prior to that, lifting, conditioning. We'll start spring practice, have 4 practices, take spring break. We'll come back and go, and we'll wrap up a spring game on the 13th. We'll pinpoint an exact time. We're going to work with our administration, see what we can do with crowd enhancement and whatnot. But it's going to be an exciting spring, and love to have some fan interaction as we go through this the spring of 2013.
Last question for you. We're coming off the holiday. Little birdie told me that you got a new dog. 1, what's the name? 2, how's the house holding up, and how's it going?
It's my wife's call, and we have 2 black labs, and now we have a third dog. I think it's a little Wheaton Terrier. Her name is Luca, which was named by one of my daughters for her, and so it's. As a matter of fact, I used it to one of my kids. I go, look at that little dog right in the mix of those big ones, just getting it on, having fun. So the house, other than a little potty training the first week, the house has been perfect, and we got a nice new add to the family.